Well, the Edge team is out at the Zuzi Mpilo Medical Center today to catch up with Dr. Cindy van Zyl, who technically practices two kinds of medical lives, a real one and a virtual one. How are you, Dr. Cindy?
Hi.
Really cool to meet you. So this is your home where you do really good work in your community, and you're going to tell us more. Where did the journey start?
Well, it started when I was in medical school. I had an interest in HIV, and a lot of it is because I had family members who were HIV infected, and that's where my interest in HIV came. And then over time, after qualifying and seeing all the death and despair at Baragwanath Hospital when I was doing my internship, that really touched my heart. So after finishing my community service, I then got involved in HIV/AIDS NPO, and I've been working with HIV since then.
How did you find yourself at the Zuzi Mpilo Medical Center?
Oh, okay, so that all happened at the beginning of this year because I had actually left clinical work. I took a break from clinical work, and in this clinic, which was funded by a donor fund, they were closing down. So a friend of mine asked me to come and join the clinic, so I did. We're looking to do something different. We're looking to revolutionize healthcare, so people must really watch this space.
When you say revolutionize healthcare, what are some of the key things that are your targets or have become your targets?
Well, for me, I'm always about the patients. I think people that know me know I'm all about patient rights. So I want to put the power back in the patient's hands. I think for too long, medicine has always been about us telling patients what to do. And this time around, I want to create a space where, patients are comfortable, they're free, they're open, and just make it patient-friendly and address patients' needs.
Now, you're queen bee of this space. Are there any perks when popping in to see Dr. Cindy?
Well, we're hoping to have Wi-Fi, we're hoping to have coffee, tea, magazines. Okay, we've already started with the magazines, but we'll see how it goes.
Right, so with having your physical space, we're about to find out exactly why the need for online medical consulting really started.
Yes.
Now onto your cyber world. Tell us how it all began and why did the need actually really come about?
Okay, so this all began in 2011. So I joined Twitter in 2011, and I joined it because of a friend called Shaka Sisulu. And I said to him, Shaka, what do I do? What is this Twitter thing all about? What should I do? And he says, well, just do you. Just be yourself and do what you do best. And in all honesty, I really enjoy teaching people about HIV. So I started, telling people, tweeting about HIV, got a lot of response. And I think what really opened my eyes was the fact that people didn't know as much as I assumed. I'd always, having worked only in Soweto, I always thought, okay, so this information is for people in Soweto, they need it more than everyone else does. But actually, the people on Twitter needed the information more than the Soweto people. And then I met a friend on Twitter called Nyakalo, and he introduced me to QMe. And QMe is a platform where you can ask anonymous questions. Like, for example, you set up an account and people can ask you, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite food, and so on. So I took that account and we turned it into a platform for people to ask questions about HIV anonymously. And the whole thing is that there's still a lot of stigma attached to being HIV infected. Okay, so you have a person that's HIV positive, they go to the clinic, they don't really want to go because people might see them, they get there, they spend time with a healthcare person, and they get home and they still have questions, and the thought of going back is a daunting one. So this platform really gave people a chance to ask whatever they wanted to ask, anonymously. And it's been going since 2011, and it hasn't stopped. I think the only time I stopped was when I was going through a bit of a burnout. So for about 2 months, I didn't answer any questions, but then it carried on thereafter.
That is very interesting, because where do you draw the line? Is it a 24/7 responsibility that you have?
Well, I'm a type A personality, so for me, there is no line. So people that know me know that I'm always on my phone, and I give disclaimers beforehand. I'm not being rude, I am listening to you, but I'm also answering questions. So I don't really stop, okay? So I'm always answering the questions, but I'm trying now to not spend too much time on my phone. It's very difficult because there's always someone that's asking a question. So I tend to put my phone away, in the evenings when I get home. But I only sleep for about 4 hours, and as soon as I wake up, I go back to my phone and check who's asked questions, and I'm answering questions again. But I've had to draw some lines and create some boundaries just so that I don't burn out again.
Now, your blog forms your base and you share from there onto every other social media platform, but people from around the world have also tracked you down.
Yes, so this is thanks to Google. Okay, so a lot of people, I think the way it works, the more questions I answer on my QME, the more my name is easily found. So I've had questions from India, I've had questions from Trinidad, I get a lot of questions from Nigeria, because their PMTCT program, the prevention of mother-to-child transmission, is not as strong as ours. So I have a lot of people finding me from there, Kenya as well.
Doc, is there any danger in online diagnosis?
I actually encourage it. I think people need to Google and they need to know what's wrong with them. I mean, we have so many websites like WebMD where you can read about symptoms and so on. So I actually encourage Googling. I think the danger comes when you now think you have every disease under the sun, having read through the symptoms, but there's nothing wrong with Googling. I think people, as a medical doctor, I appreciate when people have come to me having read up beforehand. It makes my life easier. I can explain things and we can talk about it as, as a team.
Tell us more about the ethics in terms of practicing online and diagnosing online.
Okay, so I work within my boundaries. So the two things I can't do online is that I can't diagnose a patient and I can't issue medication or a script, for example. So if you ask me a question like, oh, I have a rash, I don't know what it is, I'd ask you to go and see your doctor or to go to your nearest clinic and see a nurse there. So I definitely work within my limitations.
Now, you do kind of believe that pretty much almost anyone could potentially be a doctor by the book, but you feel that there's just really an X factor or certain qualities that help make it from the heart.
You have to have love. I always say to people that, when I speak to high school students, I always say to them, if you don't love people, you can't be a doctor. It's sad that the criteria we use to select for medical school is the books, the marks and your matric results and so on. I wish they would do something a bit more than that, because you need to have a compassion. So that's what's missing. It's the heart factor that's missing.
Now, speaking of heart, you also keep your pulse on the heart of radio.
Yes.
Tell us more.
So radio is actually my first love before medicine, I must tell you. So I grew up wanting to be, I was either going to be a newsreader or a radio presenter. So when I went to University of Pretoria in 1996, I went to audition at Radio Tuks for newsreader. But during the interview, they changed their minds and they said, no, we actually want you as a DJ. So I did that for 5 years. So I've always had a love for radio. So my slot on Cliff Central is so fantastic because it marries my two loves, radio and medicine. So it's just so awesome to have this platform where you can discuss medicine and say whatever you want.
This is CliffCentral.com.
Well, it's a very good morning to you on this wonderful Monday morning. My name is Dr. Sindisiwe van Zyl. You can catch me on Twitter at DocCindy, DocSindi. And we're here for the Health Hour yet again.
Right, Dr. Cindy, so now we actually get a taste of you at radio, unhinged, unradio. What's that world like for you?
Well, it's really awesome because Gareth Cliff called me up in December and he said to me, Cindy, we've got a slot opening for a medical doctor and would you like to take the shot? And I said, yes, of course, because I speak my mind. So this gives me an opportunity to say everything I've ever wanted to say about medicine. And we've had such a wide variety of shows so far this year. And it's really, I love it. I love being able to say whatever I want without worrying.
Now, you've got quite a good following with your podcasts as well. They go up an hour after your show.
Yes.
And available for anybody to download.
Yes.
Tell me more about that.
Every month at Cliff Central, we have like a top 10 shows for each month. So I've been doing pretty well. I think my people are happy with me. So I've been in the top 10 most months. I think last month I was number 9 and number 8, which is really fantastic because to make it into the top 10, you have to have at least 3,000 downloads per month, which is fantastic. I mean, I'm happy that people are coming online, looking for the podcasts, listening to them and learning about health issues.
Well, Dr. Cindy, awesome. Thank you so much for allowing us a minute or two between your show, and we'll definitely be keeping our eyes and radar on you.
Thank you.
Next, over to Hypertext Africa to review the CloudGate Square.